Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what part of the continent you are, wherever you are, whatever time it is now. I wish you well. And we keep on thanking God for letting us witness another year in 2022. We're still in January, but January is gradually counting his days. And God will continue to abide with each and every one of us. I'm starting today on how to write an abstract. And I think it's a very germane point for those who are doing research, those who are doing postgraduate studies, those who are in business studies, or those who are writing projects, thesis. It's very necessary to know how to write an abstract. And I've always said that writing an abstract is like having a trailer of a movie, because the trailer of a movie just shows you a kind of preview, a synopsis of what the whole movie is going to be about. And it's from it you will know if it's going to be very interesting. And with the trailer alone, you have a lot of people keen in wanting to watch the movie. So I want you to take your pen, your paper, as I share my PowerPoint on how to write an abstract with you. But I'm calling also on you to please like my page, subscribe to this YouTube channel, which is an Academy of Knowledge Economy, and share it. My name is Josephine, and I am your digital educator. Give me a second. Don't forget that my logo is still Learn with Jose. And I want you to know this. It's only that Josephine is just the anchor for Learn with Jose. Let me go over the general overview of what we'll be going through in maybe the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks. The first one is, how do we make sense of an abstract? I mean, how to write an abstract. And that's what I mean by making sense of an abstract proposal. The second one will be how to write a research methodology. And then there will be other critical things we need to know on research writing or project writing that I'll be sharing with you as we go ahead. For today, we are talking strictly how to write an abstract. That is, are we talking about research here? Are we talking about thesis here? Are we talking about dissertation here? Are we talking about projects or business papers? How to write an abstract. The first thing I need to know, for especially for those of you who are in academics and you are doing your postgraduate studies, or you are even doing, because undergraduate students write paper now, they write paper, they write projects. And each paper, when you are writing a project or writing a paper, they assign for you in academics a supervisor. It is critical. You know your supervisor. I'm not just talking about, oh, Dr. So, Professor so, Professor X, Dr. Y. No, get to know the style of your supervisor. Because it's in getting to know your supervisor, your style of writing, you'll be able to do it in such a way that you won't have a friction or conflict with your supervisor. So it is very important you get to know your supervisor. And you get to know your supervisor by just interacting with him or her. Your supervisor is a human being. Your supervisor is an academician, is an academic. Your supervisor has gone through what you are just starting to go through now. Your supervisor understands. So it's important you get to know by interacting with him or her and asking, if need be, what he or she wants you to do or how she or he wants you to go about that particular project. Agenda 1. How to make sense of abstract proposal. And that is what today's episode is all about. I said it initially, I said that NASA is like a movie trailer. Let me now highlight some points that you find in any movie trailer. And that is what is expected to be in an abstract too. It offers a preview. A preview. We know what a preview of something is. It highlights key points. When you are watching a movie, some of the key points, the things that will more or less interest you, it highlights. And that's why your abstract needs to highlight some key points. It helps the audience decide whether to view the entire work. That's what a movie trailer does. When you see a movie trailer, it helps you to say, this movie is worth my time to watch. This movie, I don't know. I already know how it's going to end. I don't need it. It's the same thing with your abstract. Because it's your abstract that will let people know, oh, you have done a lot of work and it needs to be read. It needs to be revealed. It is a self-contained, short and powerful statement that describes a larger work. You know, when you are writing a thesis or a research paper, I mean, it goes, some have almost 800 pages, 1,000 pages, 500 pages, or 200 and something pages. Some people don't like to read so many, but this one, the abstract is very short, self-contained, very powerful statement you are making here, and describes a larger work. And it condenses a longer piece of writing while highlighting its major points. That is what an abstract does. And the more you know about this, I mean, abstract in most places, especially academic abstract, should not be more than 500 words. Some people will tell you in some projects, maybe dissertation, your abstract, limit your abstract to about 200 words, or about 250 words, or about 150 words, or whatever. That's what you'll get to know your supervisor, because right from the one, you know the number of words your abstract should be. So, and this is going to condense all your piece of writing that is so many pages. That means you have to highlight within your abstract the major points. We will describe these major points as time goes on. Now, how many types of abstract do we have? We have critical abstract. We have descriptive abstract. We have informative abstract. We have an abstract that highlights on certain things. And we have academic abstract. So an academic abstract is informative. You must never forget it. If you're writing an academic abstract, it is informative. That means you must highlight cogent, critical information in your abstracts. What are the goals of an abstract? the very first goal is to analyze. At least when you're analyzing, then you are talking about the purpose or objective of that paper. You are talking about the methods you are going to use in your findings, and you are talking about your results or your findings. And you are talking about conclusions. Let me go over it again. There are 4 basic things, maybe like in 4 paragraphs, that you must have. It might be 4 paragraphs, it might be 1 solid paragraph, but in that 1 solid paragraph, there are 4 things that should go into it. And if it's going to be 4 paragraphs, there's something that should go in the paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and then paragraph 4. So either you have 1 solid paragraph that contains these 4 things, or you have 4 paragraphs. The very first thing must be your purpose or your objective of your writing. What is the purpose? What is your objective? The second is your methods, that what we call methodology. What are the methods you are using to gather your data, the primary and the secondary data that you need for your paper or your research? And the third is your result. That is what we call findings. That is, in using those methods, what are your findings? Or what are the results? And then your conclusions. And then in writing your conclusion, you might also recommend. So it's in that last one that you have a conclusion and you have recommendations. And the second goal is to write. These things that I have told you, the 2 goals, what should be in your abstract writing, the 4 paragraphs or the 4 things that should be in 1 solid paragraph, the purpose or objective, your methods, what you want, how you want to gather your data, the primary and the secondary, your findings, which are your results, and your conclusion and recommendations. And when you are writing, that is the project you are working on or you have worked on, you are tapping into data around you, you are arming yourself with the truth, and you are achieving mastery. So the projects you worked on and your time spent on this, your writings, what you are trying to do, you are tapping into the data, you are arming yourself with the truth, and you are achieving mastery. And that is why when you are doing your postgraduate study, they call you either master or you call you doctor of philosophy. That is, you are a master of that thing through your thesis. You have done enough. You are now knowledgeable. The abstract contents. I mentioned it briefly when I was telling you about the goals. Reasons for writing. Because reasons for writing is well to come under your purpose or your objective. Your problem. Your reason for writing is, there could be a particular problem you want to solve. And that problem must be highlighted in the beginning of your abstract writing. What is the problem you want to solve? What are your reasons for writing it? What is your methodology? How are you going to gather your primary? How are you going to gather your data, secondary data? Because without a good methodology, I'm sorry, you won't have a good thesis or a good dissertation, a good project. Because your methodology Is the way how you're going about it. Are you using questionnaires? Are you doing interviews? Are you going on the field? What are you? How do you want to get the data you need for your project, for your research? And when we talk about your results or findings, it includes specific data that indicates the results or discuss your findings, the implications. You see, all abstracts, you know, I mentioned types of abstract, that is a critical one, or informative, of highlight thing one, or whatever type of abstract you're writing, they share several mandatory or common components. There's something like called W and H questions. The what, the when, the where, the why, and the how. This what, when, where, why, how questions are very important in getting a good abstract. Usually in one paragraph of between 100 to 500 words, the major aspects of the entire paper in a prescribed sequence. We include the overall purpose of the study and the research problems you investigated. A research is an investigation. A research is a study. The basic design of the study. What is how? I mean, when you're so how, what is, okay, what? What is it all about? What's your research? What's your study? What's it all about? When? It must be limited. It has a time limit, a period. A time and a period. Even if it's historical, it cannot just be left unending. It cannot be left unlimited. It is limited. Within what period are you researching into? Where? It must have a location. Where? You cannot have a general, oh, I mean, you want to research now and you say, oh, my research is based in Lagos, in Georgia. That's very large. You can't cover it. In Nigeria, in Africa. You might have references to this place, but there must be where. It must be localized within the period, within an area. Well, you can have like two areas not together. For me, where I live, if I'm doing a research in my area here, I live in Austin, and I know Marietta is very close to me. So if I combine the thing, maybe it's common. I want to look at, I'm not so far from Marietta, even if I use Marietta. It's still very close to where I live in Austin, which is the beginning. I mean, that kind of thing, I might be good. And if I want to say, okay, I want to do it in the middle of Georgia, I take sample of where in Atlanta. I can take Atlanta because either Marietta or Austin, they are like suburbs to Atlanta, very close to Atlanta. We are still in the same area. And the same thing is wherever you are. So where are you doing your research? It must be highlighted. You must know from the beginning. And why? There must be a reason why you want to do it. Is it your love for that thing? Is it a problem of that, of the thing is constituting or is causing that you want to solve? And how? The how is how do you want to do it? Major findings or trends found as a result of your analysis. And then you have a brief summary. It's a brief summary. And there's what I call the 4C of an abstract writing. The 4C of an abstract writing. Abstract must never exceed the word's limit that you are given. That is, when your supervisor or what is expected in that particular instance say you must not exceed 500 words, you must be very careful you do not exceed 500 words. That means that's the maximum. You might not have up to 500 words, but you must not exceed it. If it gives you 200 words or 250 words, you must not exceed that 250 or 200 words. You might not even get up to it, but you might not exceed it. You have a maximum of that. And the first is C1, that is the very first C of an abstract, is covering all the major parts. And the major parts are those ones I highlighted and put as a goal. The major part, the problem you want to solve, the objective or purpose, the methodology, your results or your findings, and then your conclusion and recommendation. These are the major parts of your work. So your abstract must be complete. It must cover it. Your abstract, C2, it must be cohesive, flowing smoothly, auto flow. The third, C, concise. It must not contain no extra words, unnecessary information. You don't need to repeat yourself, no repetitions. Not the rigmarole words, concise words. And the last C, it must be clear. That is, it must be readable to both experts and non-experts. Even in its condensed form, it must be readable. And I want to go over it again because I want you to know this. This is very important. Your abstract must be complete, covering all your major parts, like the problem or the purpose of the abstract, like the methodology you have used to gather your primary or secondary data, like the results or your findings, and your conclusion and recommendations, if they be. That is complete, all the major parts. It must be cohesive. That is, your words, language of use must flow smoothly, must auto flow. It must be concise. That means no extra words, no rigmarole of words, no repetitive language or words, no emphasis on some people like to repeat themselves to everyone. No, your answer must not have it. And the last one, it must be very clear, readable to both experts and non-experts, even in its condensed form. In summary, I want you to know that technologically, academically, as well as personal, you must define your challenges. You must set realistic expectation in your research and what you want to do. Because mastery is not achieved overnight. It's learned through education, through studies, through reading. And then, very important, you keep your eye on the goal. And in keeping your eye on the goal, there are mentorship programs. Your supervisor can be your mentor if he or she has your time. And very important, I have supervised a lot of theses, a lot of dissertations in the past, either for master's degree and for PhD students. And I always tell them, because most of them just bring things, they give you, so you give your supervisor the serious headache, or you make your supervisor totally turn off from what you are writing. No supervisor will say, I don't like my student, somebody I'm supervising. No, why? Why wouldn't you like the person? Well, there are certain things that make a supervisor turn off, like bad English, incorrect grammar, and things like that. And that is why it's very, very important that you put somebody in between you and your supervisor to proofread your abstract and research before sending it to your supervisor. Your supervisor should not be the one correcting your English. Your supervisor is supposed to look at the academic contents of your paper, of your research paper, of your thesis. But when it's now burdened with correcting every single line of what you have written, it's not good. Supervisors are not editors. Please, know it. It's important. It's germane. It's critical. Supervisors are not editors. So put somebody between you and your supervisor. If possible, pay someone to read over your work before you submit to your supervisor. Or buy Grammarly. Grammarly will help you correct your English. And that is even if you know what you are writing about. Because at times when you use Grammarly and you don't, and it corrects you and you don't know what you want to put, you'll be putting something wrong. So there are people whose work is to help edit. They call them editors. You pay them. It's not something you say, oh, please let me do this, let me read through. No. That's not how it's done. You pay editors to help you thoroughly read through your paper and correct certain English or grammar there. I'm an editor. I do proofreading. I correct. But you need to pay. You pay for it. I mean, I did it free of charge when I was supervising my students back there. And I know it's not easy. It takes a lot of my strength and time. But here now, the only way you survive, that's my work now. I'm a professional freelancer on Upwork.com in the US. If you give me any paper, wherever you are in the world, you can send to me, contact me. I can help you proofread and correct certain your English in your work, either your dissertation, your project, or your thesis, but you have to pay. You pay for it. If you want a good job done, you pay for it. I'll be expecting your questions. So send your questions to joeshoboyejo@gmail.com. So that's the end of how to write an abstract. I think I'm concise enough for you to understand what you need to do. Please like my page, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share it to others so that you get notifications about all our videos that are coming out. It comes out every Tuesday. And by God's grace, it continues. Every Tuesday, we post new videos. The next video will be how to write a research methodology. We mentioned it when we are talking about how to write an abstract, and it's like the second important thing after your objectives or your problem or whatever that you write. What is research methodology? That's what we are going to learn next. Remain blessed. God will bless us all. Thank you. Bye-bye.